Welcome to Top Tier Wrestling, your ultimate destination for all things WWE. Whether you're a hardcore wrestling fanatic or just a casual viewer, we've got you covered with the latest news, in-depth show reviews, and our unfiltered opinions on everything happening in the world of professional wrestling. Get ready to step into the ring with us and stay on top of the wrestling world. This is Top Tier Wrestling. Welcome to Top Tier Wrestling. I'm your host, LA Josh Yeah, and joining me as always is my phenomenal co-host, 4 letters, 1 word, Dawn. Tonight, we're covering WWE RAW from September 15th. Let's get into it.
Let's.
All right, this episode is coming to us from Springfield, Massachusetts, which I must assume is only a tiny bit away from John Cena's hometown.
Yes, and they
West
let us know that.
Newbury.
They let us know
And
that a lot.
they do. They do. And right out the gate, we have Adam Pearce having to break up a shoving match as Jay and Jimmy Uso are arriving at the arena. And it appears that LA Knight's still very upset about that spear that Jay gave him. And Pearce is like, well, you two, my office. And they're like, nah. And he said, okay, well, if you don't want to talk to me in my office about it, then, you know, there's going to be several zeros taken off your next checks. And that shut them up real quick. They speak money.
Yeah.
After that opening segment, the first major segment of the night is John Cena. And the crowd absolutely loses it from start to finish with Mr. Cena. They were very there for him. It might not be his hometown, but it's his home state, and they let him know it.
Yeah.
And just to kind of summarize John Cena's promo, he talks about how it's incredible to be in Springfield and how, you know, it's his hometown and he used to go to school just down there. And he ends up talking further about how this Saturday at WrestlePalooza, Brock Lesnar wants to end the last real champion. And he says Brock's very intimidating and controversial and damn near invincible. And he goes on to say, now the easy thing would be for him to say no to this match with Brock Lesnar and just coast the rest of his appearances out. I mean, you know, stay healthy as he can. I mean, part of the reason he's leaving is that his body is breaking down on him. And the crowd's like, boo, that sounds like bitch talk. And then he says, but he's the last real champion, and that's why he isn't choosing the easy way. He's choosing what's best for the fans and the business. So, yes, he'll absolutely see Brock Lesnar this Saturday at WrestlePalooza. And the crowd is absolutely losing it. I believe a comment near the end was made about how John Cena likes the sign that says his jorts are stronger than Brock Lesnar's jeans, a reference to this past SmackDown where Brock Lesnar tore his blue jeans, giving an F5 to, of all people, R-Truth.
Yeah. Yeah. In my opinion, in my humble opinion, this match has had very little heat. Very little heat build before it takes place this Sunday. And to be honest, it doesn't need much to catch my attention. I'm excited to see it nonetheless. I don't feel like they've done a great job of building this monstrous heat between the two. But I'm still interested in seeing the match because it's John Cena versus Brock Lesnar. So they didn't really have to do much. It would have been nice if they got him in the ring together before the match, so we could see them, instead of him just covered up and F5 and the shit out of him, but I'll take it.
Yeah. And I do think I agree with you in the sense that I don't think any of the build-ups to WrestlePalooza have been particularly great. This feels like it was signed, sealed, and delivered, and they're like, we need it now and on this specific date for reasons. But I will say you're right that Lesnar and Cena kind of sells itself just with those two names. But
Yeah.
there's also historical heat. Like one of the worst beat downs and squashes of John Cena came at the hands of Brock Lesnar. Like I think when we were watching this, you made a reference to Brock Lesnar getting squashed by Bill Goldberg. Well,
Yeah.
Brock Lesnar has done the very same thing to John Cena, something to the tune of 16 suplexes.
Yeah.
And I do believe that's why Cena is one of the founders of Suplex City, bitch. So there's historical reference here, but this is one of the matches at WrestlePalooza I'm interested to see. I'm hoping it goes a little bit differently, because just watching Brock come back and absolutely shit smear John Cena, while funny, would not make for a great match.
Yeah. Yeah, I agree.
But the people of Massachusetts were definitely excited. Springfield, anyway. After that particular segment, we head back to Adam Pearce's office, and he seems confused as to why Jey Uso and LA Knight are fighting. And I'm like, do you not watch your own show, Mr. Pierce?
Yeah. Well,
I'm pretty sure LA Knight's upset because he got speared out of his boots by Jey Uso.
Yeah, I think Adam Pearce meant in his drunken state of mind that he didn't understand why they were fighting each other when LA Knight isn't on the card for this weekend and Jay has a pretty big match. And so he's like, maybe you should be focusing on that. But they were having none of that, like neither one of them. So yeah. And Jay does have a lot going on for the weekend, but he wanted to pay LA Knight back, and then LA Knight wanted to pay him back for that very same weeks for that very same night.
A receipt for a receipt for a receipt, and so on and so forth, for sure.
Yes. So Knight he wanted a match with the Vision, but Pierce said he needs to get a partner. LA Knight picks Jimmy Uso because he's messy as fuck.
Messy AF.
And
Messy AF. Yeah.
Yes. And I can kind of see where Pierce is coming from here. Like, cause I can appreciate the heat between Jay and Knight. I can. But I also kind of don't see the point of it right now. Like, LA Knight's not even on the card for WrestlePalooza again, by the way.
Yeah.
Another PLE where there's no LA Knight is what I meant.
Well, what this makes me a little worried about is that LA Knight is going to directly interfere in the tag match between Jimmy and Jay and the Vision. And I mean, I get it, but that actually feeling that way, feeling like that could be how this goes, makes me less excited for it, because I think Jimmy and Jay, a reunification of the Usos coming together as a tag team to fight the Vision in just a burly ass match, is what sounds interesting to me. Not this kind of fabricated heat between the egos of LA Knight and Jey Uso. Jey Uso's ego like apparently being out of control because he even spoke to his cousin Roman, you know?
Yeah. I agree.
I'm not sure what they're building to, but I feel like you are undermining the value of this tag match if LA Knight's just going to interfere and fuck stick it, which I have a strong feeling is going to be the case.
Yeah, I agree.
But on to matches that I had no feeling about, but was pleasantly surprised by. Our first match of the night, Lyra Valkyrie versus Roxanne Perez. And I fibbed a little bit. I had an idea that they were having this match because some weeks ago now, like 2 weeks, 3 almost, Lyra was very like in a fighting mood, and Roxy and Raquel mouthed off to her, and so she's been going through each one. So a week ago she fought Raquel, um, and Raquel basically stepped on her. I mean, one of the most impressive Tejana bombs I've seen Raquel throw. She pulled her off the top turnbuckle and just
Yeah.
walked her to to the middle of the ring and said bye bye.
Yeah.
And just smashed her into the mat. It was dominant, and I loved it.
Yeah.
So now it was Roxanne's turn. And what were your thoughts on this match?
Um, I thought it was a good match. I figured that Roxy would end up losing this one since Lyra lost last week to Raquel. And side note, I'm enjoying the strong booking on Raquel as of late.
Yes.
And that's a little bit of what you were just talking about. But at the end of the match, you don't mind if I
No, go for
go
it.
there?
Say
Yeah,
anything
yeah,
you want to say.
yeah. At the end of the match, Raquel, uh, after, because I mean, basically what happened is, Lyra got the victory, right? And as I think I predicted, but at the end of the match, Raquel came out and attacked Lyra. Uh, Roxy joins in. And then all of a sudden, Bailey, in all of her craziness, like wrapped up in a tight little egg roll of insanity, uh, she comes out and she attacks both ladies. Now here is where the match, even though the match is over, what we saw in the ring looked a little, uh, what's the word I'm looking for? It looked a little sloppy. Um, some of the stuff that Bailey was coming out and doing, some of the moves she did wasn't visually clear enough. You know, there wasn't enough of like
Oh yeah.
a
Yep.
space or a comma in between one move and the next. So it was kind of sloppy, but the heat was there, the energy was there. She came out and she basically screamed her way through all the moves. The stuff that she normally does. The Bailey to, or the belly to Bailey, I think, or
The
the other way
Bailey to
around.
belly. Yeah, yeah,
Yeah,
yeah.
that one. She did that. That looked good. Like, that kind of stuff was good. But there were just some things when she came out at the very beginning. Some of the moves she normally doesn't do that she did, that you could tell that she doesn't normally do them. But
Yeah.
other than that, but yeah, but other than that, it was good. It was good to see Bailey act her ass off most of the night. Like, 'cause most of the night, every time you saw Bailey, oh girl was just acting with a hard G.
Yeah, like over the top, but good.
Yeah, but good. Like Hugger Bailey was back. She was out there just hugging the commentators. She hugged.
Everybody got them
Yeah,
hugs.
ring announcers. Like, everybody was getting security. Everybody was getting it.
Yeah, she
Um.
about like molested the what's her, I can't think of her name, but the female referee. I can't think of
Oh
her name.
yes, I can't remember her name either.
Yeah, but she like jumped on her and wrapped her legs around her, and it's like, what's happening?
Yeah, yeah, yeah. Uh, but yeah, I was. I am. You know what? I'll say that I am interested to see where they're going with this, because they're basically just doing what our truth was doing before they
Yeah.
told our truth to stop doing that and just go back to being a jovial uh individual. That's all I'm gonna say about that. Boop
Yeah.
boop.
Yeah. I basically agree with everything you had to say. The only thing I'll do is I'll flesh in a little more of certain details. Um, the victory was picked up when Lyra almost like as a counter, like it was so quick, like they were going back and forth, back and forth, back and forth, and suddenly Nightwing and Perez is done. And the specific move that I recall Bailey doing that looked really not so great was she was trying to counter out of a vertical suplex from Raquel Rodriguez with what looked like she was attempting the stun dog millionaire, but it was kind of sloppy. She didn't quite land it right. So it looked halfway between a stunner or a cutter. And it's like, can you pick one? It just looked a little sloppy. However, her Bailey to belly on Perez looked fantastic. So win some, lose some, I guess, right? Um, and I I thought it was cool to see Bailey come out there, and like Lyra was terrified of her because she didn't know
Yeah.
what to expect. So Bailey hugged everyone except for the woman that she came out to basically save. And Lyra was like, "I gotta go. You look crazy in the face." So, and Bailey looks great. I don't know what she went and did after that previous vacation, but she's come back like with all of the T and all of the A.
Yeah.
Um,
Oh my god.
I mean, she has. A little time off did her great. Um, but yeah, I felt like this was a solid match, and I absolutely agree with you that it was good that Lyra um lost one and won one, because this way Lyra is strongly booked, and the Judgment Day, Roxanne and Raquel are both strongly booked, and this trade of wins was very, very smart to do.
Yeah.
I'm very pleased with that. And I'm very pleased when they want to book Raquel strongly instead of it being this big, slow, dumb oaf.
Yeah,
I
they've been
really
playing her.
hate.
Yes, yes.
Yeah, yeah. I know, broken record, but I super hate when the bigger wrestlers, whether they're men or women or anybody, are treated like they just don't get enough oxygen at that height and are therefore too stupid and too slow. So it's, it's believable when the dominant wrestler is dominant. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like, you're
Yep,
not
yep.
usurping some magical expectation. It's like, well, yeah, I'm not surprised that this nearly 6 foot tall woman who's made entirely of muscle beat the crap out of this 5 foot woman who is not.
Yeah.
So it was good. It was good all the way around. Um, so a solid opening match, honestly. And it sets the stage for wherever they're going with this, like, multiple personalities, Sybil Bailey kind of a thing that they're doing, which I believe we kind of saw coming. We were like, oh no, Lyra's going to have to work with Bailey because she can't
Yep.
challenge for the, and now it's looking like they're setting that up. And I like that they're not making it too quick, like in terms of how they're playing it out. Like it doesn't need 45 minutes on the show, something that we'll comment about here in a little bit. On any one show, it's cool that it's done in these like little 5-minute segments each week.
Yeah.
I'm good with that. But it doesn't have to like start and finish immediately. Like, you could play it out over a couple of weeks or a month or two, and let it breathe and do its thing. And I'm here for it. I'm curious to see what they do with it, like you said.
Yeah.
Well, following that nice opening match, we come to Io Sky, who Stephanie McCurr has critically made the error of talking to in the back. And I say that because even though Vakur has legitimate business regarding like signing a contract for their Women's World Championship match at WrestlePalooza, she doesn't realize that you can't talk to Io without going through Asuka first, because Asuka owns both Io and Kyrie, or she will bite you like a very vicious dog.
Yeah.
And so they've been talking for like 10 seconds, at least when this segment opens, before Asuka barges in and is like, back up off my woman, bitch.
Pretty
Cell
much,
block
yeah.
C belongs to me.
Yeah.
Orange
you ain't
is the
wrong.
new empress.
You ain't wrong. You are not wrong. That's that's exactly how she came in, like, prison property, mine.
Yeah. Yeah. And Kyrie just follows her around like a combination slave slash dog. I don't know what's going on there. It's a very odd vibe. Like, I think they're going for bully, but it really sort of seems like jealous lover action to me. And it's weird. Like, I don't know what else to make of it, because Asuka will chase off anyone who is even talking to Io.
Yeah. No,
And Stephanie,
it's pretty weird.
and yeah, it is. And Vickers says to Asuka to get out of her face, and Asuka suggests that Stephanie is not ready for Io, and says, but if you want to make something out of it tonight in the middle of that ring, and we're all sitting there thinking, oh shit, Asuka's going to challenge her. No, Asuka feeds Kyrie to her, and Kyrie's like, wait, me? What? And Stephanie's like, deal. I mean, of course she is, because Kyrie, whatever. No offense to Kyrie Sane, but like, she's not intimidating at all.
Yeah. No, I was like, oh no.
So yeah,
Poor Kyrie.
I don't think anyone would be surprised to hear that or go in with the expectation that Kyrie's going to pull an upset win. Um, so yeah. Anyway, Kyrie gets fed to Stephanie Vaquer, and Adam Pearce makes that match official.
Because Adam Pearce is the devil. There, I
You
said
know,
it.
you know what else he is?
What?
Bald.
Yeah, he is bald. Bald.
If you know, you know. Um, and then we are taken to a segment where LA Knight walks up to Jimmy Uso in the locker room, and he indicates that he's not really there to talk about his issues with Jey Uso. Um, but he says, "Look, you know, I picked you as my partner for the tag match with Division later on tonight." And
You
LA
messy.
Knight sort of assumes that Jimmy would be on board because all of these men have an issue with Division. Um, and Jimmy says, "Nah, man, I don't think that's the right play." And LA has a lot of reasons not to trust anybody from the bloodline, but he figured that since Jimmy had saved him the week prior and hasn't screwed him over like any of the other members have, like Jay has. And when he says that, Jimmy's like, dude, lay off that. You know, you're putting him in a tough spot. And Jimmy says he knows LA wants to handle business with a vision, but the Usos have their match at WrestlePalooza. And so he says to LA, he's going to need to find another tag team partner. And LA sort of says, put you in a tough position, and then rolls his eyes and leaves. And
Yeah,
I'm sitting here
LA Knight
thinking,
is
yeah,
messy. Yeah,
you don't
exactly.
think trying to be the wedge between two brothers that just reunited is not going to put, I mean, like, are you, I know that you can be egotistical, but you can't be oblivious, but whatever.
Yeah. Yeah, exactly.
But that leads us into the second match of the night, which is Penta El Cero Miedo versus Kofi Kingston, with, of course, all the rest of the New Day and Big G and whatnot. And,
Yeah.
you know,
For
this I don't have a lot to say because it was a
yeah.
solid enough match. There's really only two major things I'd like to point out. Well, three. One, it was a very good match. Kofi and Penta actually put on a really good match here. And Penta, I mean, Penta fought off the New Day. Like, Big G tries to run in near the end, gets a super kick, and then there's this springboard Mexican destroyer that looks obscenely amazing, and Kofi sells it beautifully, and it like is laying there going back like for a long time after the match is well over.
Yes.
The only other thing I have to say is why was Xavier Woods dressed like a Chippendales cowboy? That's
Hey,
it.
he was clean. My man was looking clean. don't don't listen to him. Don't listen to him, Xavier.
I'm just saying he looked like he had his other job he had to get to after this match.
Well, he might,
Um, he
you know.
might. But
Nah,
that's it. I
WWE wouldn't
mean,
allow that.
this was solid. Penta put on a great fight with Kofi. Fantastic finish. I've got nothing bad to say. Like, it wasn't like a transcendent, amazing 6-star match, but it was a solid ass match. It was good, and that's the second one on the night so far.
Yeah, this I agree with you. This was another good match for me. The thing that I would like to point out about this match is the smoothness and the always there-ness of Kofi Kingston whenever it was time to catch Penta from a
Yes,
jump.
yes,
Kofi
yes.
was there. And that's something that should be pointed out because we see in WWE very often that a lot of these wrestlers just ain't there to catch their
No,
opponent. Like
and
like
they,
you're in a
yep,
match with them, like bro, you need to catch this guy or the floor will.
yeah.
And I kind of find it crazy that we have to make mention of that. I mean, like, bruh.
Yeah,
You-
I couldn't agree with you more. And it's weird that Kofi is so good at it because he's not a big guy, but
yeah,
he
he's
is
not,
brave
but
enough to
he
get under the guy and do what needs to be done to keep his, his dance partner from eating nothing but floor.
Yeah.
A problem that I think on this last SmackDown, as a matter of fact, I think what's her name? Tiffany Stratton is nursing a slight injury because she bumped into the floor a little too hard during her match with Jade Cargill.
Yeah. Yeah.
I
So
just thought of. Sorry, go ahead.
no, go ahead.
I was just going to say, I thought of one more thing I wanted to mention about this match. There was a point, and I don't know if it was how this arena was mic'd or what, but there was a point where Kofi got slapped by Penta in the chest so hard that we
Oh yeah.
realized that that bit of pitting on Kofi's chest, that little separation in his pecs, that was from this. It just hit him so hard that it happened way like from the it hit him into the past or the future. I'm not sure how to say it. Like his chest separated in advance of the event that caused it to separate. Penta slapped him so hard and so loud in the chest. It was amazing. It was like a
Yeah.
freaking firecracker shotgun slap, and we were just like, "Wow, Kofi
Yeah.
just is dead now."
Kofi has died this day. Yeah.
But yeah, solid match, really good. Penta and Kofi do good work together in that ring.
Yeah.
So well done.
Agreed.
And following that very good match, we are taken to the back where Jey Uso is shown to be talking to someone on the phone when Jimmy Uso walks up. And Jimmy says, "Oh, who are you talking to?" And Jay's like, "Nah, don't worry about that." And he goes on to stress the point that Jimmy cannot be LA Knight's tag team partner. He says, LA Knight's going to come ask you to be his tag team partner against the Vision tonight, and you got to tell him no. Because they've got the match against the Braun Brawns at WrestlePalooza, and it's family, and nothing else matters. And Jimmy looks at him like incredulously because while Jay's going on and on, Jimmy is like, "Look, I already told LA that he's not going to tag with him. It's all good, but excuse me, he's not going to sit there taking orders from Jay like he's one of the kids."
Yeah.
And Jay's like, "Oh man, look, I didn't mean it like that." And Jimmy says, "Well, then change your tone because last time I checked, there's no Ula Fala around your neck." And Jimmy kind of
Ooh.
storms off upset, and Jay looks after him and is like, "Damn it." And then from there, there's we watch it on Netflix, so we didn't really see the commercial breaks, but presumably there was a commercial break. And then Jimmy Uso is walking up to LA Knight in the backstage area, and he says he's changed his mind. He'll go ahead and tag with LA Knight tonight against the Vision. And LA says, "Yeah," as Jimmy walks away. Oh, and that's where the good times that were rolling come to a
No.
sudden and awful stop.
Man, I'm honestly not even going to make people sit through this like they made us sit through this.
Mm-mm.
That freaking segment with Becky Lynch, Seth Rollins, AJ Lee, and CM Punk went on way too long than it needed to. It was too much repeating of the same things that Becky Lynch has certainly repeated several times before. Seth Rollins has done the same. The only saving grace here, and I can't believe I'm saying this, the only saving grace here was CM Punk, who kind of took a step back to let his wife, AJ, and let Becky and Seth do their thing. They even made us sit through two openers, these two, Seth and Becky, whereas AJ and CM Punk just came out with the one song. And yes, we can say that it's what the people backstage told CM Punk to do, but one thing that they could not tell CM Punk to do is shut the fuck up. CM Punk will say what CM Punk wants to say when CM Punk wants to say it. That dude has talked over people's entrance music coming on. He doesn't care. So the fact that he stood back, shut the fuck up, and let AJ Lee do her thing was admirable. He was the only, in my opinion, the only good thing about that segment. And that's it. Other than that, the best part about it was when it was freaking over. I'm not even looking forward to the match, and I'm done bitching about it already. I'm tired. I'll let you say your piece, but that's it. That's all I want to say about that thing. It was so long,
Yeah.
so long.
I will do my best to summarize. Each one of the four took turns insulting each other, and then it led to a brawl. The end, and it's a build up to the mixed tag match. Now, it took me what, 10 seconds to say all that? It
Yeah.
took them close to 30 minutes to do their thing, and I apologize, y'all, but this mixed tag match does little for me. I wasn't marking out for AJ's return. Like, I don't hate her or anything. I just wasn't like,
Yeah.
oh my God. I'm, as it's well documented, I'm not generally a CM Punk fan, and to be perfectly honest, Becky Lynch has been grating my nerves with her long and dull promos recently since she's come back and gotten the Intercontinental belt. I mean, it's just there's only so many times I can listen to A, her new stupid ass fucking music, which I hate, and B, her just going on about like I'm the best women's wrestler. I'm not the only one saying it. Lots of people say it. Sports Illustrated says I'm so over it because it's just repetitive and boring. And so the only one in that ring that I give two squirts of piss about right now is Seth Rollins, and I don't care about Seth Rollins in this match.
Yeah.
This does nothing, as far as I can tell, to do anything with the Vision. And if what he wants to do with the Vision is a punk with a punk angle, then I'm even less interested. And this is what this is all in service of. So for me personally, I can't be like at all objective here. This does jack and shit for me. So whoever this match is for, your mileage may vary, but I don't give a fuck. And this really went on way too long and was like just this massive void of 30 minutes of Raw, which is already plagued with like a lot of time where it's nothing to do with wrestling. They're cross promoting fucking like boxing matches or fucking NASCAR or showing us people on Netflix that I don't give a shit about. Where I finally get to where we're looking at 2 minutes worth of wrestling before we hit another commercial break or another one of these dumb shit things. So for this to take 30 minutes of bullshit time out of Raw really pissed me off. And honestly, it tanked this episode's review score. I don't mind telling you guys that for with regards to me. It went on too long. This was just awful. Um, yeah, I don't know who is super excited about this mixed tag match, and I don't know who this was for, but no, this was bad. Um, and that's until I give my review, that's as much time as I feel like giving to it. I think you see how you can say everything you want to say succinctly. WWE, learn it, love it, and live it, because you eat up so much time on both SmackDown and Raw with these 10, 20, and now 30-minute segments that are just not needed. We could have had like 3 more fucking matches in this amount of time.
Yeah. Yeah, I don't disagree.
Remember, you're a wrestling show? There's wrestling in a wrestling show. If you don't remember, AEW does.
Yeah.
But that brings us to the third match, Dragon Lee versus El Grande Americano. And I feel like I just said a bunch of stuff, so I will turn it over to you for your thoughts on this match.
Yeah. I am very happy to say that this episode did not suffer from bad matches. Dragon Lee and El
No.
Grande Americano gave us a good match. It was a solid mid card affair. Dragon Lee looked good. I haven't been super up on Dragon Lee since he's come to WWE. I've just been unimpressed. But I will say that I can expect now. I feel like I can expect in confidence a good, solid performance from him, especially if he's with somebody like El Grande Americano, or in this particular instance, Kaiser, which is just a fantastic wrestler. That guy is a huge asset to the company, and I hope that he gets the push that he deserves. This El Grande Americano business is fantastic for him. But
Mhm.
if they got more, I hope they do. I hope they do for him because I feel that he is very, very good. Well worth the investment.
Yeah. No,
Well worth.
I can only agree with you there. Um, Ludwig
But
Kaiser. Sorry,
no, go ahead.
I was just gonna say, I think Ludwig Kaiser is an absolute treasure. This
Hmm.
dude has been portraying Ludwig Kaiser, which is an over the top character, and then Chad Gable catches an injury, has to go get his elbow worked on, and he picks up El Grande Americano, who is a completely over the top, but in a way different way character, and he's taken it and run with it, and is dealing with it like a boss. I
Yeah,
mean, whatever you're paying Ludwig, double it. This dude is gold. He can character act. He is great in the ring. He's
and he
doing
bust out with
lucha shit
Spanish.
that was complete. Yeah, he busts out with Spanish. He's doing luchador maneuvers that are not typically what he had been doing in the ring, and he's doing great with that.
Yeah,
And
yeah,
I will also match your energy on, like, of late, Dragon Lee's been looking a lot better, and he had a couple of crazy spots in this match. There was one spot where he jumped over the top rope into a Hurricane Rana on Ludwig Kaiser, and Ludwig took the bump of the Hurricane Rana straight off the apron onto the floor. That was insane. Then there was another bump where Ludwig Kaiser was thrown out of the ring and he was up against the announce table, and Dragon Lee, like, cruise missile suicide headbutt crossbody thinged him onto the table. So there were some crazy bumps and moves in this match, and none of it looked sloppy. Like, none of it looked
yeah,
like a botch. These
mm-mm.
were just some kind of rough looking bumps and tough moves to do, but both men showed up and dealt with it and did great.
Yeah,
Um, Another really solid match. Um, and I don't know if you were done with your thoughts on it. I may have just cut in to speak to Kaiser. Was there more that you would like to speak to on this one?
yeah. Um, aside from that, aside from Dragon Lee and El Grande Americano both oppressing me or impressing me, oppressing,
Oppressing you. I'm
impressing me.
oppressed by them.
Impressing me on two separate avenues there. The match itself looked good. And I'm telling you, I'm a huge fan of Kaiser, and it's just getting bigger watching him do this El Grande Americano role right now, or this character in the ring. He's just taking it and run with it. Um, of course, he was not the only El Grande Americano to come out. I believe at one point AJ Styles came out um to help, and I think that was by the time that he came out there was already a second El Grande Americano that was out there. So he comes out to help, and then yet a third uh El Grande Americano shows up, eventually giving the original Kaiser El Grande Americano the win via submission. After which we saw the Kaiser Grande Americano with the other two mystery El Grande Americanos. Now, I think we know who they are now. I mean, you could look at one of their little goofy faces and see that it was Pete Dunne. But I think I heard the other one was another goofy wrestler that I don't really what's his name? Tyler Bates. Um I think he's the other El Grande Americano.
Yeah.
I don't know if that's
Now we know
been the
where they've
case.
gone.
Yeah, I don't know if that's been the case this entire time or not. I know Pete Dunne has been working backstage on producing some matches because apparently he's really good at that. Um but I don't know if he's been El Grande Americano this entire time. But yeah, long story short, that was a pretty good match, pretty decent. Everybody showed up and showed out. Kaiser again, a treat to watch. And Dragon Lee improvements, very very good to see.
Agreed. And we also got to see Americano pick up the win with a different sort of finish. Like his finish has either been sort of that springboard where he walks up the ropes holding the other wrestler's hand and he sort of does a springboard blockbuster, or he's used the metal plate in the mask to do it with like a flying headbutt of some kind.
Yeah.
But this time he threw on what looked like a modified sleeper type hold and got the submission win. So we see a new finish from Americano. And so that was pretty interesting as well. Good match. Very solid. I agree with you that it's not the matches that were a problem on Raw tonight.
Yeah. Not the matches, thankfully.
Indeed.
After that, Lyra Valkyria overhears Bailey arguing with herself in the locker room. And so Lyra knocks on the door, and then she kind of, tiptoes in there, and she sees Bailey just sitting on the couch. And Lyra asks Bailey who she was talking to, and like fucking Bailey just goes off. I mean, she's just like yelling and screaming, going like just on its hair. And Lyra came in there apparently to thank Bailey for having her back earlier in the evening. Especially after everything she had said to her. We ain't friends, and you stay out of my business, I'll stay out of you, that kind of thing. Yeah. And Bailey thanked Lyra for showing her that idiots still exist in the WWE. And then she just went off. She ends up ending her rant by telling Lyra to stay out of her locker room. And that was that. And Lyra was looking like, okay. Which I don't think that means that Lyra is not going to stay away now. She's even more intrigued. So we'll see how that turns out.
Yeah, I'm pretty sure Lyra expected some crazy, but she got full crazy, and then she was
full
like,
on crazy.
And so she was happy to leave.
Yeah.
Well, following that, we are taken to a different spot backstage where Rhea Ripley walks up to Stephanie McClure outside of the gorilla position.
The audience
and she says, as they are wont to do anytime there's anything Rhea Ripley going on.
Yeah.
And Rhea says, whether it's Stephanie or Io who becomes the new women's world champion, she's coming for them. And she goes on to wish Stephanie McClure good luck. And Stephanie says she's ready for Mammy.
And I'm pretty sure several people in the audience exploded.
Yeah. Yep.
But that leads us into our fourth match, which was Stephanie Vakir versus Kairi Sane, with Asuka yelling on the sidelines.
Yes, and angry Asuka.
I'm gonna say that. So at the end of the match with Roxy and Lyra, there was a scene where Sky and Vakir talked about the fact that they had signed the contracts for the Women's World Championship match and all that at WrestlePalooza. And Asuka showed up at that time. I think it's the same time where you mentioned earlier where Lyra told Asuka to get out of her face.
Stephanie told Asuka.
Sorry. Stephanie told Asuka that. I think that whenever I saw Asuka in that particular scene, it made me think to myself, that Asuka does a great job at being a controlling, dominating presence. Like, it feels almost natural from her.
Was presence the word you were originally gonna say?
Yeah.
Oh, okay. Because I had a different word in my head.
Yeah, no. She does a great job at being a very dominating force. And it feels like something that's very natural from her. Like, she's just borderline insane, right? So Io and Kairi like doing what they can to appease her almost feels like it feels authentic. It feels like they really are just like, man, can we please stop her from crashing out? Because I just want to go home.
Yeah.
The night it's late. My feet hurt. I don't want to deal with this right now. So I cannot wait for the complete heel turn from Asuka. I think she's gonna give us something really, really special.
Well, I think it works because Asuka on her like on any given day, Asuka is unhinged, right? Like
Yeah.
she's always loud and she's always making sure you know where she is and no one's
Hmm.
ready for her. And so take all that energy and now put a little bit of like domineering malicious intent behind it and it's a nasty and potent combination. I think
Yeah.
I agree with you. I'm curious to see the inevitable, explosion between Io and Asuka.
Yeah. I'm pretty sure it's coming after WrestlePalooza because I mean, I think I see where this is going, and I think that Asuka's going to end up somehow, in some way or some fashion, interfering in this match and causing Io the win. I mean, she might even just
Costing, yeah.
come. Yeah, I mean, she might even just come right out with the heel and just attack her. Who knows?
Yeah.
Or because basically what was the last thing she told Io? Uh, Io said she was gonna do this by herself, and Asuka said, "Yeah, well, you better win." Basically, that's all.
Yeah. No, I'm inclined to agree with your assessment. I think, as much as Io keeps telegraphing, I need to do it by myself. It's like they're saying, obviously Asuka and potentially maybe Kyrie are going to interfere, and it will probably cost her the match.
Yeah, I
Because
can
I
see
think
what's gonna
I
happen
also,
there. Sorry, go ahead.
yeah. No, I was just gonna say I definitely think there's a reason they just showed us Stephanie and Rhea.
Yeah, you think they're gonna end up doing like a tag team together?
No,
Maybe it. No.
No, I think they're telegraphing that Stephanie's going to win and that it's going to
Oh,
be
well,
Stephanie
yeah,
versus
yeah,
Rhea, which would fit in line perfectly with Io getting her opportunity wrecked by an interfering Asuka
yeah,
and kick off that feud.
yeah. I'm excited to see those two in the ring against each other. Asuka and Io. I have reason to believe that that should be a pretty good heat.
Yeah. Yeah. Absolutely. Um what were your thoughts about this particular match though? I mean, that was a great like detailing of what you think about the feud that's
I
brewing between Asuka and Io, but this
Yeah,
match.
the reason I brought that up is because with this match, this match was okay, but it was more of a storytelling match. It was here just for the storytelling, honestly. Um Kyrie was in there hanging on, doing her best. And there was constant like constant pressure from Asuka to get the victory, to get the win. Asuka would even help, but I mean, Asuka wanted her to win very badly, and I honestly expected Asuka to attack Kyrie um at the end of the match if she did not win. Um but as we figured, she did not. Kyrie did not win against Stephanie, and I mean, I think we all kind of figured that she wouldn't. I was just honestly assuming that that Asuka was going to attack. Uh, almost like a temper tantrum from Asuka about it. Um, but after the match, none of that happened. After the match, though, Vakir got into a standoff with Asuka. And Io came out to kind of smooth things over. Before they, got into it. So Asuka leaves and she's calling for Kyrie the entire time. Uh, but then Sky shakes Vakir's hand. And I mean, it's kind of just them two in the ring, like, just kind of showing that it's gonna be these two against each other, but you could still hear Oscar in the background yelling at yelling at Kyrie, and like I mean that she has a huge voice when it comes to yelling. Like
Yes.
like she can
Yes.
carry it to the back of the auditorium, and I think that's the other thing that's so like so like dominating about her or about her presence is the fact that she can have a booming voice.
Yeah.
Um,
Yep.
I think when Kyrie jumps, sometimes she ain't faking it.
No, no. She's anticipating Asuka setting off the sonic boom.
Yeah, but yeah, overall, this was a good match. But I think this match was more about the storytelling. that needed to take place. And I think they did a better job with the storytelling here before WrestlePalooza with this match than they have with any others that I can think of right now. I think
Yeah,
this is
and
probably the best story told as far as the lead up to the match.
yep, and without any 30-minute long talky segments.
Yeah.
Um, if I may, my thoughts on this match. I found it to be a better match than I thought it would be, considering that we both looked at it and went, well, Stephanie's going to destroy Kyrie.
Yeah.
Kyrie hung in there.
She did.
Um, and there was a part where there was a really nice exchange between Vakur and Kyrie, in terms of like kind of wrestling technical. And Kyrie extended her hand and Stephanie shook it, and Asuka lost her shit.
Yeah.
Asuka was like, no, and screamed at her in like all kinds of Japanese. And Kyrie was like, okay, okay. And, proceeds to attack Stephanie. So it was, yeah, there was some definite storytelling here, but it was a better match than I
Yeah.
anticipated for a variety of reasons, not just because it was a storytelling match, but because it's Kyrie Sane. It was one of her better matches.
Yeah.
And in addition to that, Vakur finished off Kyrie Sane with a different version of the Stephanie Vakur bomb. Previously, it was set up as like a package power bomb or pile driver, but she flips it out into a backbreaker. Tonight, though, on this episode, the SVB ended up being a double underhook gut buster. And I was like, wow, okay, so she's changing it up. So I don't know why she chose to change it up, but it looked cool.
Yeah. It was
Other
like
than that,
maybe that was just the thing they were doing Monday night, because that wasn't the only, like we mentioned earlier. El
yeah,
Grande Americano did a
Americano.
different finisher,
Yep.
so maybe they were like, let's try this. You try that, cool. I don't know.
Yeah, so I'm curious to see if that was a correct read, like because she finished the match with it. So I'm assuming that's the new SVB. That's the new
Hey,
version of it.
maybe they're pulling a hologram and they're just gonna have a different finisher every time they come out there.
Oh man. Maybe, but I mean you can't always call it the same move.
Yeah,
Um
true.
but this match was another good match. Stephanie Vakur looked good. Kyrie Sane looked good. And it fans the flames of the inevitably gigantic falling out that will happen between Asuka and Io. And I know it's not really my place to make the heel argument. You're more of the heel gal. But just to make the heel's point of view, there's been more than a couple of times that it could look like Io Sky chooses these other people over her damage control friends.
It does,
Like
yeah.
she will stop and be like, no, and seems to protect or look after or doesn't mind Rhea Ripley. And similar here with Stephanie Vakur. So there's a case that could be made where Asuka and Curry feel like Io just uses them when it's convenient, and when it's not, she shoves them to the side.
Yeah.
So I think that's where the build is going. But Asuka's position, as crazy as Asuka is, Asuka's point of view, and her methods a little over the top, but her point of view could very well be that Io takes her friends for granted who keep trying to have her back, and then she doesn't get their back in return. That would be
Yeah.
a fair assessment, because she's shown that to us with regards to Rhea Ripley and Stephanie Vakur. It's like suddenly she doesn't want to sit with you at the lunch table anymore. So I do believe there is a perspective there. So it's not it's not just Asuka being insane, although her methods are crazy.
Right.
The way she treats Kyrie is a little much.
Yeah. I mean, she even used Kyrie as the shield in the match that she had last week.
Yep.
Put her in between her and her opponent. So yeah, Asuka is going off on the deep end, and I'm here for it.
Yeah. So while you could make the case that Io hasn't been the best of friends, Asuka hasn't been a very good friend either. So they're
Yeah.
both kind of in the wrong there. But it's not that Io is pristine here either.
Yeah.
But
Agreed.
But following that match, we are taken to a segment with the Braun Breaker and Bronson
Yeah, you
Reed.
guys remember them, right? They're the ones that have a match later on tonight. You just didn't see them at all for the entirety of the episode because because we had to watch LA Knight and Jey Uso have an argument. You know, something that has absolutely nothing to do about the building up of heat on a match that's happening this freaking weekend. Remember that? Yeah, I
Yep,
just kind of felt like they had a lot that they were trying to stuff into this episode, and they could have had plenty of opportunity to do so had they not spent 45 minutes with AJ Lee, CM Punk, Becky Lynch, and Seth freaking Rollins. Like, did Seth forget that he
true
had a
fact.
faction he was trying to run? Did they forget that Becky was put into that faction and it's not just the Seth and Becky show? But I digress. We see a little vignette of the Braun Breaker and Bronson Reed tag team division to remind us that they actually exist and they are in the building. Um,
Yep.
eh, yeah, and it's just more of the same. They're here to smash. Not the way you're thinking, you perverts, but they're here to beat people up.
Yep.
And okay, yeah, cool. Here for it.
Yeah.
I'm here for it. I forgot they were
Pretty-
even going to be here.
Pretty much Braun Breaker hypes up Bronson Reed and Bronson Reed hypes up Braun Breaker, like both talking about how each is a very destructive force. They both more or less suggest that Seth Rollins has a vision in this business and none of the rest of you bitches fit into it. So their vision is just going to be looking up at the lights from now on.
And I think they deserve the tag team belts. That's what I think. Because I'm not sure what Judgment Day is doing with them. They're not doing anything with them. What's going on there, Judgment Day?
I mean, you're speaking sense, but right now the vision is being used to take care of problems for Seth Rollins in his championship run, which is LA Knight and Jey Uso. And it's not so much in the service of what might be good for Braun and Breaker or Bronson. Sorry, Reed and Breaker. Man, everybody's going to fuck that name, those names up. Bronson Reed and Braun Breaker. I'm just going to say Reed and Breaker.
Reed and Breaker.
Yeah, I agree with you. I mean, what even is happening with the tag division and the tag belts? I mean, I tried to think. I remember I asked you after we looked at it, and we were like, "What is happening with the tag belt? Who the hell even has them?" It took like 5 minutes for us to recall that Judgment Day currently has them. That's how dead the tag division is on fucking Raw right now.
Yeah.
And you know, you could have had a tag match or two relative to that. I mean, I know it's fun to send them off for things like Worlds Collide and all that, but you know, the show where they actually are the tag champions, you might have had a moment for that if you'd have spent a little less time. But I digress.
Yeah. Yep.
So yeah, I agree with you though. Bottom line is that these two men should definitely be pursuing some kind of gold instead of just playing bodyguard or championship guard for Seth Rollins.
Like, they need their belts. Then Seth has a belt. Then Becky has a belt. Everybody's belted up. Basically, they need to be what Judgment Day usually is.
Yeah, I agree.
So,
But after that promo, we see that Asuka and Io continue to bicker backstage, and Io says in English that she hopes Asuka can accept the fact that she needs to fight this battle with Vakur by herself at WrestlePalooza. And Asuka gets mad and storms off. And Kairi, who is dilapidated, like she's just barely hanging in there. She looks like the Walking Dead after Vakur beat the shit out of her. Gets scared into following and stumbling behind her when Asuka screams for her.
excuse me.
After that segment, we are taken to the Judgment Day, who are attempting to raise a toast to Dominic Mysterio becoming a double champion, not only being the current Intercontinental Champion, but at Worlds Collide, which just recently happened, he became the AAA Mega Campeon. So that's like the top title in AAA. And Finn then says that Dom should take a chill pill on the victory lap because Raquel and Roxy had a rough night. But they go on to say, they're cool. They'll take care of Lyra Valkyria. And then Finn's still pissing and moaning. He's like, well, he's worried about, the factor of El Grande Americano, and reminds Dom that he's a member of Judgment Day. And JD McDonough is telling Finn to calm down. But Finn is like, there's clearly something going on between Dom and El Grande Americano, and what does El Grande want in return? And Dom goes on to say, is it so crazy to believe that El Grande Americano just wants respect from the King of the Luchadors? And Finn says, yeah, that's pretty damn crazy. And the next time Dom wants to play that King of the Luchadors card, don't come asking for help from the Judgment Day. And that's when Rusev just magically appears. Like that, look at Rusev and tell me he should be able to sneak up on anything. Come on. But he just pops into frame and he's like, he holds out his hand to shake hands and introduce himself to Dom. And Dom's holding on to both belts. And he says, sorry, my hands are full. And Rusev says he's going to be the next Intercontinental Champion and just leaves. That's all that happened there.
Yeah.
But yeah, man, Finn has super soury, like extra sour grapes over the fact that Dominic Mysterio is succeeding every kind of way that he wishes he could.
Yep.
Jealousy much? Envy a lot? Yes.
Oh.
So Mr. Finn Blair is going to go and like be angry that his Lucky Charms don't taste good.
Yeah. Yes.
But after that, we come to the fifth and final match of the night, which is LA Knight and Jimmy Uso versus The Vision. And would you like to give your thoughts on this match?
Yes, this was another match I feel that was about storyline. And that's not me bitching. And when I said that about the other match with Kyrie and Stephanie, that was not to say that it wasn't a good match. It still was a good match, but it was very heavy with the storyline. And I kind of felt like this match was no exception. Excuse me. I feel like, and I'm not really sure why, because they have no desire, WWE being the they in this sentence, they have no desire in making either one of these men heels. They're all super baby faces, like every last one on the Uso side, like Jimmy, Jay, and LA Knight. And I'm not really sure why they felt the need to push the tension between Jay and LA Knight instead of focusing on the match basically what I'm trying to say is this match, even though I knew it was happening, still felt like an afterthought to the Jay and LA Knight storyline. So I felt like they were trying
I could agree with that.
Yeah, so I feel like they were trying to do with the match what they should have done with the words for the night, which was try to build some sort of heat between Jimmy, at least, and the Vision. But they didn't really need to do any of that. I don't even understand why the match couldn't have been Jimmy and Jay and just leaving LA Knight out of it altogether. Like maybe maybe LA Knight could have run in and done some sort of interference that cost Jimmy and Jay the match. Maybe something like that, because we all know that that I very, very, very strongly suspect that the Usos will be winning come Saturday. In fact, the match ended Monday on Raw the way I would expect for it to end, which is the Vision taking the victory. I just don't understand why they did so with LA Knight and Jimmy. So yeah, you know what I mean? Like I'm not saying this
Yeah.
match was bad. It wasn't bad. It was just this storyline is a bit confusing. It feels like there's too much happening in the storyline because we just got Jimmy and Jay back together as a tag team, one of the greatest tag teams of our generation. Right here. They're back together. This is monumental. Oh, not yet though. We got to have Jimmy in a awkward match with not his brother for some reason. You see?
Yeah.
So I mean, it just felt like I don't know. You not only did they take away some of the fanfare of Jimmy and Jay finally coming back together as a tag team, but they squandered the opportunity to even give the fans a like a little tiny taste of what's to come
Yeah.
over the weekend, which is something that they normally would jump like they would fucking jump on
Well,
you know, but it's like, oh, we gotta find something for LA Knight to do too, so let's put him in this.
yeah. Well, I mean, I don't think they would have had Jimmy and Jay versus the Vision on when that's the match that's actually happening at the pay per view.
But they've done that before.
Not too often. They don't just give you the full blown match that you're expecting to have at the pay per view.
Right, but look,
Um,
okay, what I'm saying is what they would have done, which is something that they do often. Let's say they got a big match on the PLE, which they do. So then they would have them do like a let's run it, like you know, let's give everybody a little taste right now. WWE loves doing that. So they would have normally put them in the ring and then had some sort of interference that would cost Jimmy and Jay the match because we know that they're going to beat the Vision come the PLE.
yeah.
So
Maybe it depends. I kind of have a different take on it. Because I don't think they would have given us Jimmy and Jay and the Vision entirely. What I notice that they often like to do is they'll give us a singles match with like half the team and then the other half and then stuff like that.
they do
But
that too, yeah.
Jimmy and Jay, I don't believe we're scheduled to like if we go with what they've got set up in the booking and the kayfabe. Jimmy and Jay weren't going to have a match, but Jay mouthed off too much, and Jimmy's got this bug up his ass that Jay's starting to sound too much like Roman, which seems a weird take to me
Yeah.
because like not that long ago, all of them were back together again to fight against the MFTs a bit, and they all seemed cool with each other when they had that match, uh, a Survivor Series match together, where Punk was, given the favor. They all didn't have a problem with each other then. So it seems weird, or they are trying to make it weird when it wasn't weird before. That
Yeah.
Jimmy and Jay and Roman are playing nice with each other for a few minutes. And why would Jimmy have a particularly big issue with that when Jimmy was the one playing nice with Roman before Jay got on the page? So
Yeah.
it's like, are we all suffering short-term memory issues because it's just convenient for Jimmy to pick this Dillo right now? Um, but yeah, this was an awkward set of circumstances, and I'm not sure where they're going with it. Like, what feud are you trying to fuel, or like what tension are you trying to create between Jimmy and Jay here that Roman is somehow the fulcrum of, even though he's not? He's off filming Street Fighter or in the hospital, quote unquote.
Yeah.
So I'm not sure what they're trying to do with it, but I'm inclined to think, much like I'm worried that Asuka will cost Io her shot, I'm inclined to think that LA Knight is somehow going to cost Jimmy and Jay against the Vision.
Yeah.
Um, so I don't necessarily see them picking up a guaranteed win at WrestlePalooza. I think LA Knight is going to be that wild card that screws it up.
Mm. You might be right.
But that's at least what I'm seeing. I did think that this was a surprisingly good match considering that LA Knight and Jimmy Uso are not regular tag partners. And the Vision looked solid as they are wont to do.
Yeah.
And continuing the trend of matches finishing with a slightly different finishing maneuver than we're used to. Big Bronson Reed has, for a while now, used what he's calling the Jagged Edge, which is a running Death Valley driver, and it's not been a finisher prior to tonight. But he hits, I want to say, Jimmy with the jagged edge when Knight and Breaker are otherwise occupied, and picks up a quick 1, 2, 3. And it looks good. I'm not complaining, but it's like suddenly finisher, you know?
Yeah,
Oh, okay.
yeah.
I thought the tsunami was your finisher, but whatever. Maybe his ankles hurt or something. I don't know.
Maybe.
But now he has an alternative finisher in the event that he doesn't want to dive off the top rope. And then after the match, of course, we've got some stuff going on. I want to make sure that I didn't interrupt your final takeaway on this. Were you
No.
done?
Yeah.
Okay. After the match, the Vision have annihilated LA Knight. Like Bronson Reed did this flying shoulder block to him on the outside of the ring that just killed Knight. Like he was like for a while.
Yeah.
And so after Jimmy takes the L, essentially Reed sets him up. Like he gets on top of him and starts beating him up. But then Breaker gets into the ring, pulls down the shoulder straps, and they set Jimmy up to get the like super spear. And that happens. And then shortly after that, Jay comes out with a chair and he runs off the Vision by chair shotting all of them a lot. And LA Knight slinks into the ring while he's checking on Jimmy, and Jay, turns around and spots him, and he tries to make sure that they're cool. And he holds his hand out, and LA Knight sort of looks at him, and then they end up shaking hands, and we're like, oh, okay. So, because Jay, as much as anything, saved LA Knight, because who do you think the Vision was going to kick the shit out of after they were done with Jimmy? So I figured, hey, maybe they're cool. No, not at all. The minute Jay turns around to tend to Jimmy, Knight pulls him back around towards him to hit him with a BFT. And so it's a receipt on top of a receipt on top of a fucking receipt. And this is just going to be endless until one of the two of them kills the other, apparently. So, and I said all that to say, I'm with you. I'm not entirely sure. Like, this feels like there's one too many moving parts going on. I'm hoping it's leading somewhere interesting, and it's not just convoluted for the sake of.
Yeah.
Well, that said, that concludes the show. It goes off of the air with Jay lying on the mat looking like bark, and Jimmy looking back as LA Knight's retreating like, dude, what the fuck? So, and then it was credits. So, what was your review score for this episode of Monday Night Raw?
I'm gonna say that this was a lot better than I thought it was going to be. I'm kind of confused with a lot of the storyline that's happening with Jay and Jimmy and LA Knight. Not confused about it, but confused as to why it's happening right now, especially right before a PLE when they usually focus on the matches for a PLE. So this is kind of just noteworthy because it stands out to me. But I don't know if I could call this top tier. I don't know if I can. I think I would give this a 7.5 at best. And that's not top tier, but it wasn't bad either. Like, honestly, guys, it wasn't a bad match. It was okay. And I think a 7.5 shows that. But a lot of it was brought down with some of the very long, drawn out talky word segments. And it feels a lot of confusion as to whose story should be put out there right now. And you know what? I'm talking about with Jimmy J and LA Knight and the Vision. It's like there's just so much happening there, but maybe it all comes together at the PLE. Maybe it's like you said, they're doing all this because LA Knight's going to end up costing them the victory. Maybe, in which case, okay, I'm here for it. But until that happens, their involvement or the involvement of LA Knight is just going to be a little bit confusing. And in my eyes, unnecessary at this particular juncture. So yeah, 7.5 overall. And I think a 7.5 is very nice. Like it feels like a solid number for that show or for that episode.
Okay. Well, you're much more generous than I am. The 45 minute black hole in the middle of what was otherwise just an okay Raw. Like all the matches were solid, but none of them were great. None of them were flub fests. But that 45 minute black hole that we no shit ended up like fast forwarding through, to be quite honest. If I did not watch this show for professional reasons, I probably would have turned it off right then and there. This is only 6 out of 10 neck nubs for me. This is very far from top tier, like much further, in my opinion, than 0.5. This was bad. That you have a segment so bad that the only reason it's got any points for me is because the matches were solid. That segment was a show killer. Do not do that ever again, would be my advice. That was the same kind of crap that made me watch WCW back during the Monday Night Wars, when every time I tried to turn on WWE, it was Bret Hart just yammering on and on and on in like for an indefinite amount of fucking time. Meanwhile, over on WCW, I'm watching a badass match. Sorry, I don't watch wrestling to watch self-indulgent bullshit for a couple of wrestlers. This was not good. It was bad. And it is unfortunate that the rest of the show was decent surrounding it, because it tanked the shit out of this show for me. This was a mid to garbage tier. This was not a great episode of Raw. It was some great matches, but that 45-minute or 30-minute segment was trash, like in the extreme. So it went down from what it would have otherwise probably been about a 7, because again, nothing blew my mind to put it into top tier. Top tier isn't the default rating. Top tier means your shit was extra good. It loses another full point from like a 7 down to a 6 because of that super awful 30-minute segment between AJ Lee and Punk and Rollins and Becky for me. And that's on top of the fact that it's plagued with all of Raw's usual brand of so much non-wrestling related material, recaps upon recaps of other shows, lots of commercials, tons of in-show cross promotions, etc. I'm not sure who was dying for this particular mixed tag match or thinks it is like the most must-see television. It's not, at least not for me. And it didn't need a half an hour of the boring build for it. And it's unfortunate that it tanked what was good, which was the matches. The matches were good. Again, none of them were like a show-stealing mega banger, but all of them were solid with very few flubs. Just 1 or 2 that weren't the worst thing in the world. Yeah, not the best. Not the best episode of Raw, not a great go-home show. I don't feel hardly that excited for much at WrestlePalooza. I think Cena versus Lesnar might be the biggest draw for me right at the moment. Everything else that I even know of on the card is kind of meh for me. And that segment took what was not particularly interested in match to where now I'm like averted to it. Like you pissed me off about it. So for me, this was not top tier.
I can dig it.
Well, that's been our review of WWE's Monday Night Raw, the go home show just ahead of WrestlePalooza. And I want to thank all of our listeners who listened to this episode, and I invite you to join us for our next episode, which could be any number of things, but most likely will be Friday Night SmackDown, because we have a banger of a weekend for wrestling coming up. We have AEW's All Out, and we also have WrestlePalooza. I can tell you which one I am overwhelmingly more excited for.
For sure.
AEW's PLEs in 2025 have nothing that is even close to competition for them. And WrestlePalooza, which was thrown together seemingly kind of half-assed last minute and scheduled as counter programming, just is not going to do it. So definitely watch for what we decide we're going to end up doing a podcast on with regards to those, but for sure SmackDown. Until then, I don't think there's much for me to do but roll the outro.
Bye, guys.
Thanks for tuning in to this episode of Top Tier Wrestling. We hope you enjoyed our deep dive into the latest WWE news and shows. You can find us on all major podcast platforms as well as our YouTube channel where we upload all of our episodes. You can also follow us on Instagram and X for updates and to join the conversation. Until next time, everyone, remember, wrestling is always better when it's top tier.